The 2014 Strade Bianche began, well, video coverage began anyway, with a group of 4 and no one from any World Tour teams, effectively taking the burden of chasing off of people who weren't going to chase anyway. Sky came to the front around 63 kilometers to go, maybe less to chase and more to take in the lovely scenery, though as we'd see in a moment, these rolling hills aren't just for show. The primary obstacles at Strade Bianche are 10 sectors of gravel road. The obvious comparison is Roubaix, but these are far more rideable, that is, if you discount the sudden changes in grade for which the aforementioned hills are responsible. After dropping his breakaway companions early in the 7th sector, Angelo Pagani of Bardiani CSF lost traction coming into a steep pitch with 49k to go. Neutral support did a great job getting him going again, but it was still embarrassing because his bike sponsor's namesake, Mario Cipollini, was waiting just up ahead with a bottle. Diego Rosa of Androni Giacatole used the slip-up to chase Pagani down a few K later, but proved the treacherousness of the descents, overshooting the very next bend and losing both his sunglasses and his mini can of Coca-Cola in the process. Things weren't a breeze for the bunch, either. Katusha's Rudiger Selig popped out his own rear wheel before realizing that team leader Luca Paolini's was fairly intractably stuck, thus unwittingly taking 2 of his team out of contention. Saxo Tinkov's Roman Kreuziger applied pressure at the front, and yes, finally, the rare moment where we can say that Cadel Evans' mountain bike background will be an advantage. Evans and other contenders began to separate, Sky's Ian Stannard finally led them past Pagani at 43k to go, and by the end of the sector, a group of 11 was clear. Omega Pharma Quickstep had 3 riders in the split, Michał Kwiatkowski, Michał Golas, and Matteo Trentin. But at 40k remaining in a chase of 15 just a few seconds down that included another teammate, pre-race favorite Rigoberto Urán, they elected to sit up and regroup. Now with 5 riders, OPQS took up the pacemaking, extending the gap over an unmotivated peloton for the next 11 kilometers until they sent Trentin blasting giddily past their own paceline at 27k to go. A group of 5 leapt away after him, but none were from Saxo Tinkov, so guess whose turn it is to chase. The quintet caught Trentin on the 8th gravel sector, Saxo Tinkov's Kreuziger whipped up the chase with a big attack, and right before the 2 groups came back together just inside of 22k to go, Cannondale's Peter Sagan launched a brilliant attack, catching everyone else sitting on their heels in anticipation of regrouping. It might seem a little out of place for the guy who won the bunch charge for second here last year, but isolated and without the advantage of a teammate up the road, it's a very different situation this time around. Omega Pharma's Kwiatkowski came immediately across, and after a brief discussion the duo fell into good order while the chasers balked. Even up the wall of the 9th sector they managed to ride steadily, while the group behind looked around and sprawled out across the road. Despite the cooperation though, the leaders weren't in total harmony. Sagan seemed overworked, drenched in sweat, and hunched-shouldered, while Kwiatkowski seemed almost over-animated, flicking his arm and constantly looking back. After more than a few irritated surges, Valverde finally broke free of the chase on the last gravel sector, and managed to claw back a few seconds on the lead. But even after being joined by Kreuziger, Trek's Fabian Cancellara, and Lampre's Damiano Cunego, the gap barely fell below a minute. Into the final climb, Kwiatkowski hung in easily behind Sagan, and the Cannondale rider put in something resembling an acceleration around 500 meters to go. But his companion was never distanced, and the second Sagan fell back onto his saddle, Kwiatkowski countered decisively. Though the difference was made almost immediately, the Omega Pharma rider kept looking back, almost not believing his gap as he cruised to the win, despite a little bobble on the post-up. Sagan limped home 19 seconds later, with Valverde distancing the rest of the chase in 3rd. I'm Cosmo Catalano, and that's how the race was won.